Oh, did they just want to play early to get home early?
No, we played early, Mike, because it's finals week for us. So I had to actually, when we had thunderstorms a couple weeks ago, I forget the exact date that we were scheduled. We've never been allowed to play during finals week. That's been our university policy. We've never had a midweek game during finals week. And we were, both James and I were so disappointed that the game was canceled. And we just really, we're so disappointed. And I put in a petition to our athletics council to see if they would allow us to make an exception so that we could play a game during finals week. We only had, I think, 4 or 5 players that had a final exam today. And those players that had final exams today did not even come to the ballpark today. They just focused on their exam. And as part of the agreement, we said we would play an afternoon game so that the players would be home early so that they could prepare for their final exams tomorrow. So that's why we played an afternoon game. And it helped, it didn't really matter for Grambling, but as it turned out, Grambling had a rain out on Friday, so they had to stay an extra day in Houston for their series, and they came straight here from Houston. So it allows them to get home early too. They have a long drive home, but that wasn't the reason the game was scheduled for. It was because it's finals week for us, and this allows our players to get back to their apartments and prepare for their exams tomorrow. The series, I don't want to be melodramatic here, but when I took over as the coach here at LSU way back in 2007, the schedule was already set. And I noticed, that we didn't have Grambling on the schedule. And the next year in 2008, I put my first schedule together, and I kind of just went off the schedule the year before. And I just kind of asked around, how come, Grambling wasn't on the schedule? We played Southern, and nobody really could give me a good answer. And I did a little research and found out that LSU had never played Grambling in the history of the two schools in the sport of baseball. And I never understood why that was the case. And at that time, the coach at Grambling was a friend of mine by the name of Barrett Ray. And Barrett worked my summer camps. And Barrett and I got together and said, wouldn't it be great if the two schools got together and started playing each other? Barrett didn't stay at Grambling long after that first year we played in 2009. He ended up becoming the coach at Southern, and now he's the athletic director at St. Augustine High School in New Orleans. But we started basically playing on an annual basis. And, I think it's important, for both schools to play each other. And so, we put in a petition to our athletics council, and, our chair of the athletic council, Dr. Lori Martin, went through the channels and got it approved. And so, we played the afternoon game, and, we both schools thought it was important to play, and for a lot of reasons, and we have a great relationship with their school, and we wanted to play, and we were down 2 games because we had the rain out at Tulane and also the rain out with Grambling. So at least we were able to make one of the 2 games up.
It's interesting. I never put that together, that you'd never play during exams as long as you've been here.
Actually, I'm wrong about that, Mike. There was one year we played in the SEC. But what happened was our academic calendar got changed literally like 1 or 2 weeks before the academic year started, and the SEC couldn't go back and change the SEC schedule that had already been put together. So one year we had to go, I think, to Texas A&M during finals at the end of finals week. So there was one year, but it was because we changed our academic calendar very late. I can't remember what year it was. So that was the only year we've ever played, but never a non-conference game during finals week. It's always been a university policy.
Hey, Coach, just kind of on the game, I guess, Mikhail, really seemed to have great control out there those first 3 innings. And, he seems to really kind of step up when he's asked to be a starter. I'm just curious, is that something that you guys can foresee for him, maybe moving forward or anything like that? Have y'all given that any thought?
Well, I'm not sure, Glenn. I'm not sure really. As a freshman, he did a really good job for us as a starting pitcher. And his consistency has been up and down this year. There's been times when he's been really sharp and there's been times when he hasn't been. And I talked with Alan Dunn about it. And, I just thought, we're going to need Mikhail down the stretch. And I thought, maybe if we start him in the game and, kind of just take him back to his freshman year a little bit, maybe it helps his confidence, get him into a rhythm a little bit. And the plan was really only going to have him to pitch 1 or 2 innings. And then his pitch count was so low and he looked so sharp, we ended up letting him go 3 innings. We had to scratch one other pitcher that was supposed to pitch today. He had a little bit of arm soreness. So we ended up scratching him. So we had an extra inning anyway. And I didn't really want Aaron George was not available this past weekend, and we just wanted to get him out there to knock off the rust. And he still looked a little bit rusty today. So I didn't really want him to throw a full inning. So I kind of had an extra inning there to play with. So we ended up letting him go 3 innings, but he looked pretty good. So it's a consideration that he could potentially start a game. And I'm just not sure yet. We haven't put much thought behind it at this point, but I'm just glad he looked good today.
You got any long-term concern for Gavin's back?
I always have concern, but he woke up this morning and just had back spasms. And if you've ever had back spasms, boy, it can just paralyze you. He wanted desperately to play, but there was no way he couldn't swing a bat. So I'm hoping within the next couple of days he'll be back to 100%.
How'd you think Brody did in his place?
I thought Brody was great. He ripped the base hit, hustled it into second base when the guy bobbled it, and then, of course, hit the line drive home run, made a nice catch out in left center field as well. I didn't think he was going to be able to get to that ball with the wind blowing out, but he made a nice running catch.
Overall, just a good game to see your guys locked in early, take control of the game, and do what they needed to do.
Grambling has put up a lot of runs in a lot of games. They beat Louisiana Monroe earlier this year, 13-5. And I talked to the Louisiana Monroe coach about it. He said it was no fluke that they swung the bats really well. So, I was a little bit nervous coming off a very emotional, weekend this past weekend, and staring at the number 1 ranked team in the country coming in this weekend, and kids are in final exams. I mean, coaches worry about everything. So, but our kids have responded all year. I shouldn't worry too much because they're a really resilient group, and, they were really focused today. We had a nice day of practice yesterday, and, nice and loose day. They were enjoying being out on the field again, and it showed today. We got off to a good start and pitched well, played good defense. Just played a good solid game today. I was really proud of the guys.
I know
Hey, you talk about the having a good game today, coming off an emotional win. Well, of course, last time when y'all had the number 1 team, you brought in Vanderbilt. You came off of a offensively productive game against South Alabama, but the hitting didn't translate. How do you hope the hitting translates this time whenever you host Arkansas?
Well, obviously the pitching that we faced last weekend will be more similar to the pitching that we'll face next weekend as opposed to what we faced today. So we swung the bats great against Ole Miss. I don't have any doubt that we'll be ready to face the caliber of pitching we'll face this weekend against Arkansas. I mean, I don't know what the scores will be, but we'll be prepared. I mean, we're a hardened team now. When we played earlier this year, we had a bunch of young kids that hadn't really had that much exposure to the SEC schedule. Now, the last 6 weekends of the SEC play, we've faced 5 teams in the top 10. After this weekend against Arkansas, we've played 6 teams in the top 10 over the last 7 weeks. So our team is hardened now. These young kids, listen, Trey Morgan, Dylan Cruz, Jordan Thompson, I don't even look at them as freshmen anymore. They're not playing like freshmen. They're experienced. The whole team is more experienced. They're hardened. I don't think they're going to be in awe of anything this weekend. They're confident and they're ready to take on the challenge. I don't have any doubt about that.
All right, sorry, that's all for Coach SU Radio.
Wait, let me get one in here. Just Paul, the governor talked about 100% capacity in outdoor venues.
I heard that just before the game. Dan Gasson, our associate AD, told me that, and I told the team that right after the game in our team huddle. I think that got the biggest cheer of the day from our team. They were all fired up. So we're excited about that, Mike. I hope that the weather cooperates, and I hope our fans will come out and enjoy themselves. And, it was fun being at Ole Miss this weekend and having big crowds, and just felt normal. Life felt normal again, in the SEC. And hopefully, our fans will come out and root us on hard, and we'll give them some reasons to root loud and cheer for us, and hopefully we'll play really well for them.
Do you think you can get it implemented by this weekend?
I hope so. That's not obviously anything that I can control, but Dan Gaston, again, he's the associate AD that's in charge of event management and facilities and so forth. I know he works as hard as anybody, and he's going to try to do whatever he can do. So let's hope so. It would be fun to get back to normal. We only have 2 home weekends left, so this would be a great weekend to be able to implement it. Let's keep our fingers crossed.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Ashley.
Y'all can start with questions for Trey.
Hey, Trey, I think we just kind of saw you just now kind of come out after the game and speak with some of the Southern players. The Grambling players. Do you know some of those guys over there? Just what kind of sparked that?
Yeah, I competed against Mike Mims in high school. He played for St. Aug. I played for Brother Mark. We actually competed against each other for the district championship my junior year. So yeah, being able to see him today was cool. Watch him pitch. He wanted to pitch against me, but I got pulled before I could face him. So
Trey, do me a favor and scoot up closer to the deal. I'm having a hard time hearing you. Thank you, sir. Get up on there. Get in there. All right. Did it feel good to come out and kind of take control of the game and do what y'all are supposed to do against a club that maybe you might have a little bit more talent against?
yeah, it felt good. We really just came out and tried to stick to our hitting approach, hit the ball hard, not really trying to do too much just because the pitching wasn't up there. We just tried to do what Coach Eddie tries to preach.
Trey, it seemed like in y'all's second time around the order there in the 3rd inning. Obviously y'all batted around. You started and finished that inning. Did it just take maybe a second to kind of see what this pitcher was about, and then once you'd seen it the first time, you kind of knew what to expect and were able to get to him there?
Right. We really just had to adjust coming off the weekend and then facing that the first time around the order. But once we adjusted, our bats got life.
Kind of similar deal in that game. Coach said you guys are a hardened team now. Obviously, you've seen the fires of the SEC. How much better do you think this team is equipped to handle a team like Arkansas coming to town, this weekend than maybe say you were two months ago?
We know this series is big for us, but we just got to take it one game at a time and play hard, just like we would have if it were earlier in the season.
And Trey, what kind of spirits was Gavin Duga in down there, having those back spasms and not able to play today?
Oh, he was good. You wouldn't have even been able to tell that he was injured. He was cheering with us when we were winning, telling us what we were doing wrong when the first time around the order. So he was up.
Any more questions? Thank y'all. All right, y'all can start with questions for Mikhail.
Mikhail, do me a favor and scoot up and get close, please. Fill the frame. Thank you, sir. Well, y'all must scoot like that far. Get in there. There you go. Thank you. Well, I can't hear anything they say, so I can't run it on TV. Like we couldn't run.
I'll make sure to speak loud.
Do you want me to get the mic?
I don't know. It might not be any better.
I'll make sure to speak louder.
Thank you, sir. How good did it feel to get out there and really, command your pitches and obviously take control early?
Oh, it felt great. Actually, the past few weeks, I've been feeling really good in my bullpens and making sure everything is clicking well whenever I was throwing and tossing out in the outfield and doing my flat grounds. So it felt really good being out there and being able to help my team out like that.
Paul said that they would maybe consider using you as more of a starter moving forward, or the last month of the season here. Would it take any sort of adjustment for you to do that on the weekend, having not really done it much since your freshman year?
I mean, it'll take its course, and I have to get back used to getting into that starting role. Being that I haven't started in a while, but these midweek games, they definitely help out a lot, and it's not really much to change or adjust. More of my mindset and knowing that I'm not coming out the bullpen. I'm starting that day, so.
Give me your thoughts on the potential to have 100% capacity. The governor, made some changes to the COVID rules and said outdoor events can be stacked, 100%. How excited as an athlete would that be to have, kind of the box back and rocking?
Yeah, this is the second time I've heard about that. But the first time today, whenever after the game, coach told us about that. Everybody was super excited. I mean, that's going to take a huge effect on how we play, and even though we have the same mindset coming into every game of taking it pitch by pitch, out by out, I think that's going to play a huge factor in how much better we play. Key situations.
Mikhail, y'all have obviously been looking for answers in the bullpen, and through a shutout, a bunch of guys got on the mound. What was it like for y'all's pitching staff to have another one of those in the midweek games?
It's always great to start the week off by having those type of games midweek, because it builds up a lot of confidence in the bullpen leading into the weekend, and being that we are playing against really good teams on the weekends, that confidence definitely plays its part, and you got to have guys coming out the bullpen with as much confidence as possible whenever they are put in tough situations.
You get colored contacts in?
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, I do not remember your eyes looking like that.
Yeah, they prescribed. Doc said, they got color contacts. You want to try those out? For sure.
I'm good. Good
Yep.
job. Yes, sir.
Thank you.